All right, we're back live again on a Tuesday night, and Chris is back. Chris, how you doing?
I am just fantastic. A lot
We,
better than others, for
we missed you on
sure.
the weekend.
Well, I had a rough week, but it was a great Sunday. So a lot
Yeah,
better than Mr. Portnoy from what I hear. So
he's done with the NFL. We'll
yeah,
talk
because
about them. He had
be,
some points. We'll talk about them, but
he's done with the
another
NFL
championship
because
Sunday. Hey,
he's done with the NFL because the NFL season's almost over. He'll be right back on it come September.
oh, of course. I mean, everyone has those moments. I have those moments sometimes, but another championship Sunday in the books. To me, it's the best weekend of the year. There's something about it. It's exciting, and we saw one blowout and one very close game. What do you have any takeaways before we dive in? What'd you take away from the weekend?
Yeah, I think it was definitely the four top teams that deserve to be there based on what we've seen during the season. And I thought we could have had two close games. That one kind of just got away from Washington, which I'm sure we'll talk about before they could even kind of get their footing. But no, I thought they were two very entertaining games. And even if you're not a fan of any of the teams, which I'm not, still thought it was. I mean, it was a lot of good action. And I think between the divisional round and this round, I think we finally got what I was looking for anyway, with some really great matchups.
Yeah, I agree. Like 55-23 probably didn't reflect the game itself. I think Commanders hung in there for a little bit. Let's start with that game. I think if they didn't turn the ball over as much as they did, it could have been a lot closer.
Yeah.
Um, which is really disappointing because they've been great in the offseason. Kind of shot themselves in the foot today, but still should be proud of the season. But I mean, let's talk about this game. The first person you want to talk about is Saquon Barkley. Okay. First touch, 60-yard touchdown. Philadelphia scored 7 rushing touchdowns, which is wild. I've never seen. I mean, there's a couple of things I want to talk about.
It's like Boise State out there, man.
Yeah, I mean, really, and even who was their backup running back that had a big run too? I thought it was Saquon
Kenneth
again. I was like,
Kenneth Gainwell. Oh
Kenneth Gainwell.
no, you got the other guy. I don't even know who the other guy is.
Got his name,
Yeah.
but I was like, okay, yep.
Will
Another Saquon
Shipley.
run. Shipley, there it is. That's who it
Yeah, there
was.
you go.
Um, lost my bet by one leg. I had AJ Brown to score, Terry McLaughlin to score. I think I had Jalen Hurts to score, and then I had Washington to win, so missed out. I thought the game plan for Washington was going to be, Derek and I spoke about it, was going to be start fast, get ahead of the ball, get ahead of Philadelphia, getting it into a grind. In the end, Philadelphia running the ball, throwing the ball, everything outplayed them to the max. Did you think that Washington were a chance heading into this weekend, or what did you think of the game? What did you make of the Eagles overall?
It kind of went the way if I had been on the show last week that I thought it was going to go. And when I started it, Jaden Daniels was ready to play. And the one person on his team, well, two people on other team on his team who have experience, Zach Ertz was ready to go, and Bobby Wagner was ready to go. You know who was not ready to go? Everybody else who has never been in this situation before. And that's when you saw fumbles. Austin Eckler, come on, man. Jeremy Nichols, and then the rookie, Diami Brown. So you can't have your second tier guys making big mistakes. And the moment was just too big for them. I thought Jaden impressed me fully with the way he played the game, but there is a talent level disparity between these two teams. I mean, the Eagles, I think they're most talented team in all of football. If you look at their 22 starters. So being away from home, playing the Eagles defense, which is rocking people with all that talent on offense with Saquon, which I texted you during the game. I was like, if the MVP race went through the championship games, he should be the MVP. The Eagles would not be in the Super Bowl wasn't just for him. So it was just too much for them to overcome, just too much for Washington to overcome. And I don't think anybody should be ripping Washington. I mean, their season went way beyond expectations of what anybody thought they were going to do.
Yeah, and I think another thing people aren't really considering with the turnovers, when you rush the ball that much, you're going to get so tired having to get in the trenches and try and push back against their O-line, best O-line in the league. You touched on Philadelphia having one of the most talented rosters I think it's without a doubt the most talented roster. You've got one
Yeah.
of the best D-lines in the league. Jalen Carter is just wreaking havoc. You've got easily the best O-line in the league. Shout out to Jordan Mailata, Australian, one of the best left tackles in the game. You've got Devontae Smith, AJ Brown. You've got Saquon Barkley, and then Jalen Hurts. I know I'm kind of critical of him. He played well on the weekend. When he plays well and when everything's going well, he's a great quarterback to have there. So they've got a really strong team, and then their secondary is also very strong. I have to give shout out to Nick Sirianni, and this is going back into last season. You remember last season there was Philly were calling for him to get fired. Philly fans throwing popcorn at him. They're booing him at their home. This year, I think it was early on, 5 weeks in, we were talking about him being in the hot seat, and if they lost to the Browns or someone, like they were going to fire him. He's back to the Super Bowl, well deserved. Yeah, and you still think he's the man. I mean, look, still a lot of controversy, but he clearly is doing a good job, and he's the man to lead Philly forward right now. It's
I think
unconventional, but it's working.
I think he's doing a good job by just staying out of the way. I really believe that. I mean, they have two amazing coordinators, right? Vic Fangio, just that defense was like what, the 30th defense in the NFL last year to number one with the same basically exact roster. That's coaching, right? That's just straight coaching.
It's not
And
the same
then,
roster though.
well, I
Cupid,
mean,
Cupid Gene, rookie, Saquon Barkley. Like
no, I'm
they
talking about
filled in some
defense, the
holes.
defensive guys. Yeah. They drafted like one guy, but I mean, that defensive line is the same, right? Those linebackers are the same. They added safety, a corner. But I mean, to have such a turnaround in such a short span of time, that is the strength of this team is their defense right now. And then, bringing in Kellen Moore, who he understands, the aspect of the game, and Saquon is the team, right? He's the energy of that team. He's the lifeblood of that team. Just knowing how to situationally call plays, it's a huge deal. I mean, I don't know. What does Sirianni do? Is he the motivator? I don't know, because they still have a lot of chemistry issues, right? There's still a lot of weird things going on in Philly sometimes. But I just feel like the coordinators are doing such a good job with this team. That's kind of led to their turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, similar to Dan Campbell, right? Like, not, he doesn't play call, but just gets on the same page. And you're right, there still is issues, right? But you have AJ Brown, who seems to be, for lack of a better word, a diva. He complains when he doesn't get the ball. He does all these things. But I think what Sirianni has done well is install belief in his players. Like Jalen Hurts has copped a lot of criticism, and as soon as he has a big game, Sirianni's like, yeah, what about him? What about him, right? So he really backs his players. And I think similar to like what Pete Carroll does, not everyone's all different. They might not agree with everyone, but he gets them all working towards a similar goal, which is winning, which is what they want. And I mean, again, they're back in the Super Bowl, so we might not agree with all of it. It might not look conventional, but they're there. It's working. So good for them.
Well, we talked about Philly months ago, right? We had a show we were talking about them, and I think me and you both agree that we thought they were the class in the NFC at that point, and that was before Detroit started going down with all these injuries. So, I mean, I think they had a little rough spell for a little bit, but they're still winning games. And then the playoffs came. They struggled against the Packers in that first game and kind of were a little, just a little sluggish and stuff like that. And then Saquon and then against the Rams, that was a back and forth game. They could have lost that game, and then Saquon obviously just took the game over. And now it seems like they've got their confidence, and now they're going to hit the ground running. So I definitely think it's the most deserving team from the NFC that deserved to go to the Super Bowl that is going.
Absolutely. All right, 2 questions coming out of this game. First one, tush push. Should they ban it or not? It's controversial. I was always leaning on the side of keep it, but I've got some thoughts. I want to hear yours first.
I just don't think it's very entertaining. I
Not at
mean,
all.
I understand the NFL. I mean, I don't think they're hurting for viewership and for making revenue and all that stuff. I just think unless you're a fan of that team and it works, I just don't think the non-interested fan, I don't want to see 1 yard just pushes all the time. I just don't think it's entertaining. I think the entertainment of a 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, and what are they going to call? Are they going to run it? Are they going to throw it or whatever? It adds so much value to the game, and teams are going for it on so many 4th downs now. I don't like it, and I think it needs to go. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, and you're 100% correct. That's right. My original thoughts were, well, it's a play that you've got to find a way to stop it, right? Like, you got to figure it out. But what I saw on the weekend is what annoyed me a little bit, where they're at the 1-inch line. They can't get any closer. What is Washington supposed to do? They jump off sides 3 times, and the referees go, well, you know what? If they keep doing this, we're going to reward a score. It's like, well, what are they supposed to do? If they wait for Philly to move first, you're going to get bowled over. So you can't. It's literally impossible to stop. And first of all, it just slowed the game up because they had to try and jump it. They had to guess it. They got nothing to lose. And so I thought, you know what, it's such an advantage and it's impossible to stop. And then when you do try and stop it, you're getting penalized and they're warning you about it. Yeah, I think there needs to be some changes to it.
And
I don't know what the
it's not just a Philly thing. Obviously, we'll get to Buffalo, and they did it a bunch of times. I mean, other teams have started following suit. My team, the Packers, they do it with their tight end all the time. And it's just, I'm just not entertained by it at all. And the defense will never be able to stop the offense from getting half a yard because, like you said, the offense hikes the ball first, and the defense has to react to that. By the time you react to it, the play's already over.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So
I just don't
what's the
find it
change?
entertaining.
Is that you can't push the quarterback? Is that what it is? Or
Yeah. I think you can't push the quarterback, and I don't like that Jalen Hurts gets that. You know, he has that one leg behind the other leg where he's like in this weird like stance position where he almost gets to push off or whatever. I think you should have to. I think they should make that like an illegal stance where you don't get to do that. You should have to have your feet like together, and yeah, you shouldn't get. Used to not be able to get pushed. I don't know. I know some people don't know the rules, but like used to not be able to push running backs. Used to not be able to push anybody. Used to be a penalty. So I think they need to pull that back. We see it all the time, right? The running back gets 8 yards downfield. All of a sudden, an offensive lineman will carry the guy like another 5 yards. How do you defend that? You can't. So yeah, I'd like to see it go away. I don't think it will. I don't know if it will, but I'd like to see it go away.
I think there's going to be a lot more conversation about it because I think we saw between both games, we saw like 6 or 7 pushes in the end. And it just, yeah, you're right. And like the thing is now, if you get to 2nd and 2, for example, you can run the play 3 times.
Yep.
So you're essentially just lining up, doing it, lining up again, doing it, lining up again, doing it. It is.
Yeah. Philly will be 3rd and 1, and they'll throw the ball 40 yards downfield because they know they'll get the first down. So it's like it's almost like they get a free play every single time they're in a short downed situation before they get to 4th down. So it's just a totally unfair advantage.
Yeah, and you either ban it or you change the rules to give the defense more of an opportunity. So I don't know if it's less linemen or something. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. Anyway, second question for me coming out of this game. Who is the greatest free agency signing of all time? Saquon is in the conversation. Other ones that came to mind would be like Tom Brady to the Bucks, Randy Moss to the Patriots. Off the top of my head, that's what I can think of. But the Eagles are nowhere near the Super Bowl this year without him. You just mentioned the playoffs where he took over in the second week. He dominated from the start this week. It's like, I know we've argued about MVP and he's not going to get it, but this team is completely different with him. Like not just his numbers itself, but what it opens up for the rest of the offense. It's insane. So I wanted to get your thoughts on who do you think the greatest free agency signing of all time is, and where does Saquon belong on that list?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have to see how it plays out, right? If they win the Super Bowl and they win the Super Bowl because of him, that has to basically have it right up there with the top. NFL is a little different. It's hard to get these huge free agent signings. I know from my own perspective and my own experience, one of the biggest free agent signings that I know is when Reggie White left the Philadelphia Eagles and went to the Green Bay Packers. It changed our entire team, and we won a Super Bowl because of that. He had 3 sacks in that Super Bowl win against the Patriots. So he was one of the greatest defensive players of all time. That's a big one that I would say in my opinion. And I mean, you could go, Peyton Manning when he went to Denver. I mean, that was a huge, even though he wasn't at his pinnacle at that point. I mean, they got Super Bowl out of it. Drew Brees went to the Saints, right? They got a Super Bowl out of it. So it's hard though. I'm trying to think of like non-quarterbacks, that would go to another team and change the trajectory of the team. And there are not a lot. So Saquon is in very, very, very rare company with that.
I know you said Peyton wasn't the same, but let's not forget he threw 55 touchdowns in a season, a record that still hasn't even come close to being broken. So he still had, you're right, he wasn't like he was there for 5 or 6 years, but he still
first year he was amazing, right? But that last year when they won Super Bowl, he was a shell.
He was average. How did they go in that first year? I can't remember what happened.
Didn't they? I think they made it to the playoffs, but I think they lost in the playoffs.
No, they made the Super Bowl. I remember that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't remember. That's a long
Yeah,
time ago, man.
I think they ended up losing 43-8 in the Super Bowl. Like they got like blown out by like one of the greatest defenses of all time.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to look that up, man. You put me on a
Yeah.
spot over here,
First
man.
of all,
Good lord,
you
it's
didn't
like
pick up my hints.
27,
They lost the
27
Super
questions.
Bowl to Seattle 43-8.
Oh, 43 to
That was
8.
the LOB just came out and absolutely dominated and shattered their season.
Oh,
So yes. All
well,
right.
there you go.
Let's move on to the next game, the big main event. I'll give you the floor, Chris. I'll give you the floor because you and I have
What?
been
No, you
going.
gotta give me a
We've
question.
been
You give
going
me a
back and forth.
I need a preamble. Like, what do you want me to talk about?
We'll give a preamble, okay? So, the Buffalo Bills go into Kansas City. Josh Allen is 0-3 in the playoffs against Kansas City and against Patrick Mahomes.
Before the
They
game,
go in there. They have a lead. They're up by 1. It's a close game. They start off a little shaky. It's a close game. They have the lead. They have an opportunity to go ahead. They miss a controversial 4th down run. They then stop Kansas City and hold them to a field goal and then have another 2.5, 3 minutes to drive down and win. Fell short and then couldn't stop them on defense. And again, Kansas City back to another Super Bowl. I thought it was one of the better games of the season. It was very entertaining. There was there was a few errors here and there, but overall, I think it was pretty good football. There was some controversy. There was some great plays. Everything else in between. I thought it was a great game. Fell short again. Chris, go on. What do you want to
I
say?
guess I have multiple issues with everybody's opinions on this. The first thing we can talk about is it's scripted for the Chiefs. Okay, let's start with that, right? It's rigged for the Chiefs. Everybody knows that the Chiefs are going to win. Mark, who did you bet on to win this game?
I bet the Chiefs.
You bet the Chiefs to win the game.
I mean, I gambled on both.
Okay, yeah,
I had
yeah.
two. I had two.
It's not the parlay that I saw.
Yeah, that was my other parlay, but that was you know what that parlay was out of spite. You were just pissing me off so much with how much shit you were talking about the Bills. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this guy. I'm putting all my money on the Bills. But I had another bet on the Chiefs that I
Oh,
lost
so you
to.
bet you bet on both. So there's just such a dichotomy when the Dave Portnoys of the world he bets $1 million on the Bills to win the Super Bowl, but then they lose the game, and then he goes online and says the game is rigged. So if it's rigged and you know it's rigged, why is everybody betting millions of dollars? I read that 90% of not all the betting money, but 90% of the individual bets went on the Bills. All that's just Chiefs hate because you don't want to see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. But if you think you can't bet and then say it's rigged, and then when they lose, you say it's rigged, but if you win, you win. Like, that's not how it works. So that's one thing that I have a problem with this. The other thing, to say it was taken away from the Bills. When I watched that game, number one, the Chiefs outplayed the Bills. Okay, I don't care. I want somebody to disagree with that. The Chiefs outplayed the Bills overall in the game. The Bills had so many opportunities to win that game. Not getting penalties on them, not getting easy calls for the Chiefs on offense of the Bills. They started out the game. Josh Allen looked terrible. Okay. He threw two balls that should have been interceptions. He fumbled the ball, 3 times or whatever. And none of those plays ended up costing him that they should have. He went 3 and out, 3 times, 2 or 3 times in the game. And at the end of the game, right? The defense holds Patrick Mahomes to a field goal. You got the ball. You got 3 minutes left. You got 3 timeouts. Go make it happen. The Chiefs are not going to give it to you. You got to go make it happen. And we could talk about individual plays. We could talk about the 4th down or whatever. But on 1st down and 2nd down, he threw 2 terrible passes. I mean, they were just terrible passes. So I'm sick of everybody giving Josh Allen love and giving him a pass and acting like he's the greatest thing since sliced bread because he did not play. If he wanted to win that game, he needed to play A+ football. He didn't. He played
I think he played pretty well. I think he had a good game.
Did he
personally
to beat the 2-time defending champions, you have to play perfect football, especially when you're away from home. And they didn't do that. So it wasn't the refs. It wasn't you can blame anybody you want. I blame the Buffalo Bills and I blame Josh Allen because if you want to win that game, you had multiple opportunities and you just didn't do it. So they have nobody to blame, in my opinion, except themselves.
All right. So I hear everything you're saying. I do. And here's what I'll say. The 4th and 1, again, if you can't convert that, you don't deserve to win. So I'm not saying that cost them the game. I thought that he made it, but it was close. The thing that I think everyone's frustrated with is all these close calls just seem to fall the way of the Chiefs. Even the play before, the third down, Kincaid. There's arguments that he got a first down there and they called it short. It's just like every single time you call a ball short. But again, I don't think the refs cost them the game. Yes, the Chiefs outplayed the Bills. There's no doubt about it. I think the Chiefs' offense was just, it was awesome. The way that they have, run pass option, run quarterback options, and how good Patrick Mahomes is at processing and making the right decision. They're very, very hard to stop. And then defensively, I want to talk about a few players. But yes, there's definitely Chiefs fatigue, and it just seems to be that they get these 50-50 calls. They lean towards them, and it's frustrating. But
Okay.
no, I don't want to take away this. I don't want to take away the game itself. I thought Josh Allen had a good game, but when the Chiefs kicked that field goal to go up by 3 points, I got texts from multiple different people saying, this is it. This is his moment. Like all this talk about Josh beating Mahomes, he can't do it. He has the chance to go down the field and do it, and he didn't do it. The fourth down play, I know he threw it up in the air and should have been caught. Let's talk about it, but that's just Josh throwing it up in the air and it landing well. Probably, the play itself, we'll talk about that because I think it was a lot to break down. But yes, they didn't. They fell short again. What I don't like and what I disagree with you about is I think Josh Allen is a fantastic quarterback. Same with Joe Burrow, same with Lamar Jackson. But we are living in a time where we're witnessing most likely the greatest player of all time. That's it. Don't shake your head.
No. That's not what's happening. Okay, let's go to that last drive. All right, what's the first play that they did? Do you remember? You got 3 minutes left. You got 3 minutes left. You're down by 3. They ran the ball with Ty Johnson. If that's Joe Burrow, are they running the ball in that situation? No. If that's Patrick Mahomes, no. If it's Lamar Jackson, he might run it or he's going to throw the ball. Joe Brady has neutered Josh Allen because they are terrified of the mistakes that he's going to make. He does dinking and dunking. I know you hate that term, but he does dinking and dunking.
I proved you wrong on dinking. I already proved that wrong to you.
Okay. And they run. That's what they do because they don't trust him in big moments. And it played out just like it. When that run went for -1 yard or whatever, he can scramble. He can scramble with the best of them. He is such a great running quarterback. I cannot take that away from him. But his throwing in critical moments is not in the same league with a Joe Burrow or a Patrick Mahomes. Lamar, okay, we can argue that because Lamar hasn't proven that either. But when you say it's a big 4, it is not. It is a number 1 way up here. Then you have a Burrow a little bit under him, and then way down there you have Lamar and you have Josh Allen. I hate this notion that there's a big 4. What has Josh Allen done? Somebody tell me what Josh Allen has done in his career to warrant being in a big 3, 4, whatever. What has he done?
Again, I'm not saying that he deserves to be in the same breath as a Patrick Mahomes, all right? Or even a Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow has beat Patrick Mahomes. You saying
What's up, Derek?
Yeah, hey, Derek. You saying he's not a good quarterback is baffling to me because it's like he is a good quarterback. Again, we're living in a time where we're witnessing the greatest player ever to play the game, Patrick Mahomes, and I don't think we're taking that into account. We're just Josh isn't good because he can't beat him.
In the last episode, you said Josh Allen was a generational quarterback. That's what you used. You said generational quarterback. I want to know what defines, in your opinion, what makes him a generational quarterback.
Did I use that term exactly?
You did. You did because I watched it. And when you said it, I wanted to punch my phone because I couldn't believe you were saying that.
I think he has generational talent.
Okay, no.
But
that's not what you said.
He has to get over the hump of winning. There's no. I'm not saying that, but that doesn't mean he's not a good quarterback.
How are quarterbacks in the NFL defined in history? They're defined by their accomplishments. They're defined by how many Super Bowls they win. And he hasn't even gotten to one, and he's pushing 30. So to crown him now, because they are saying top 3, he's the top 3, he's a generational quarterback.
He's top 4 right now.
I just think it's so overblown, and I just think he gets a pass for everything because he's this gosh oh shucks guy. He's
He's a
always
what?
smart. He's this gosh oh shucks. He's like, oh, I'm Josh Allen. I'm a funny guy. I play golf. I make jokes. All this stuff. People like his personality, and people hate Patrick Mahomes right now, and that's leading to all the love from him. But he needs to get the blame for this game and that last drive because he did not come through. He's now 0-4 against Patrick Mahomes, and everybody wants to blame the coach. Everybody wants to blame everybody else, but he is the quarterback. He gets all the accolades when they win, so he deserves the majority of the blame when they lose. And I just think it's ridiculous that he gets nobody is ripping him for losing this game, and I just think that's ridiculous.
I mean, I'm not going to rip him. Again, you lost by 3 points to the greatest, and we're going to talk about this, but probably the greatest franchise in all of sports. So it's like, what do you want to do? Rip him because you can't get over the greatest team of all time? Like, it's just
You were 0-4 last year. You had a home game, or not last year. Last year you had a home game against this team, and you couldn't win it at home.
again.
I mean, what's going to happen? So then you're saying that he can't beat the Chiefs, but you're saying he's going to be an all-time great and a generational quarterback. So when is he going to beat the Chiefs? I mean, like, obviously it seems like never. So isn't that going to impact him like for the rest of his career? Him and Mahomes are basically the same age. So you think he's going to beat him at some point? Because it's not looking like it.
Well, were people saying the same thing about Peyton Manning when he couldn't beat Tom Brady?
Yes.
All right, and what happened? He got 2 rings. So it's like it's possible.
So Josh Allen is Peyton Manning.
I'm not saying that, but it's a similar thing, right? Like Peyton Manning was his awesome, great quarterback, and they couldn't get past the Patriots and Tom Brady for the longest time, and he did. And I want to call out some stats here. Michael Jordan didn't win a ring until his 7th year. So
oh my God.
Josh Allen is in his 8th season, right? So Michael Jordan 7th year. Nikola Jokic, 8th year. LeBron James, 9th year. Peyton Manning, 9th year. Drew Brees, 9th year. John Elway, 15th year. So he still has a ways to go to be considered a great, but on talent alone, he is a great quarterback. He just needs to get over the hump. And it's just unfortunate he's living in the same time and having the same career time frame as the greatest of all time.
On talent alone, Sam Darnold is a great quarterback. They're all talented quarterbacks. Okay. I mean, just what you do in those clutch moments defines you as an all-time great, or just defines you as a guy who was a really good quarterback in the NFL. And at this moment, he is just a good quarterback in the NFL. He is not a generational great. He is not an all-time great. He's not a generational quarterback. He just isn't, because he has to have accomplishments.
If he was on the Chiefs, right, if they switched places and you had Andy Reid calling plays, Spagnuolo in that defense, I'm just asking a question. Do you think that he would have won a Super Bowl?
If you flip the quarterbacks, if you put Mahomes on the Bills right now and Josh Allen on Kansas City, then Buffalo's winning that game.
So Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes is it for them. Not Andy Reid, not Spagnuolo, not their defense, not their running game, not wide receivers.
If Andy Reid had Josh Allen, he'd have to go probably get him a Saquon Barkley, because he's doing the same thing that Joe Brady's doing, is run. Josh Allen isn't even the best player on his own team. I'm sorry. James Cook is the best player on the Bills, and that's what I saw. That's what I saw during this playoffs, and that's what Joe Brady saw by continuing to rely on him with the run and the pass.
So continuing to rely on him, it's just like, if your run game is working, you feed into it. Look at Philadelphia.
They're trying to get a word in. I'm sorry. I need to be good.
Derek.
Oh, I don't hear him. We don't hear you, Derek. Sorry.
We don't hear him. And again, this is, you're going to shake your head at this, right? you want to talk about dink and dunk. And I read out these stats to you. On the weekend, he was 2 from 4 on 20-plus yards. Mahomes was 1 from 3. Mahomes had 18 completions. 12 of those were less than 10 yards. Okay, so you want to talk about dink and dunk. Mahomes, dink and dunk is not a bad thing. If you're making the right decisions, you're making 6 yards a throw, that's a good quarterback. I'm not saying it's bad, but you just keep saying it as a bad thing. If you're throwing the ball deep, it means you've got a receiver that can go one-on-one and break through. He hasn't had that all year. He doesn't have a number one receiver. He's had to work. He lost Stephon Diggs. Players have had to step up. Chiefs had 3 players on the weekend that were above the league average in receiver separation. The Bills only had 2. So Mahomes had more to work with. And again, they lost by 3 points to the greatest franchise of all time. He had a good game and he played well. He's just, you said it. You're right. I agree with you on that. You have to play out of your skin and like the perfect game to beat Mahomes and the Chiefs. The perfect. Doesn't mean he still played well, but maybe he didn't play to a level that's unsustainable. Sorry. He'll get there.
I mean, he's not.
Can we hear you?
His story is written.
His story is not written. He's 28 years old.
It is such a mentality.
His story is written?
Yes, his story is written. He will never go to the Super Bowl. Not as long as he has to play the Chiefs in the AFC.
I'm just annoyed
the only way that Josh Allen will be able to go to the Super Bowl is if he like pulls a LeBron. LeBron went back to the East because he was struggling. But what I'm saying is the only way he's going to go back to the Super Bowl is if he gets in the NFC like sooner than later. Huh? No, I know, but I'm saying like what I'm saying is he is not going to make it to the Super Bowl, okay, in the AFC. It's just not going to happen. So, and obviously he's going to be under contract for life for the Bills. So if I am projecting the next, he's not going to play football for 10 years because he's not that kind of guy. He's probably got another 5 years. He doesn't really care about football.
Oh my goodness.
But the only way that he's going to go to the Super Bowl, he needs to go to the NFC now, and he goes right now. Because Jaden's coming, and I know you think Caleb's coming, but Jaden's coming, and all these guys are coming. So if he wants to get a Super Bowl, he needs to go to like Minnesota or somebody right now. It's not going to happen. He's not going to be able to beat Lamar and Burrow and Mahomes and all these guys. It's a mentality. He's 0-4 against Mahomes now. He will never beat Mahomes in a playoff game. It's just too mentally to overcome, and it's not going to happen.
So, okay, if Josh Allen goes to the NFC and wins a Super Bowl, are you going to give him credit? Or no, he left, he didn't do it the way you're supposed to do it.
If he wins the Super Bowl, yeah. But if he just gets there, no, I don't give him credit for that.
All right. Well, Derek,
can you hear me?
Can you...
I see two Dereks.
Yeah, there's two of you. One's on mute. It's okay. I'm trying to get rid of one of you, but who cares? Whatever.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, I think, Chris, you put a lot of importance on playoff wins and Super Bowl wins, which is, hey, I mean, that is okay to do. But to me, when we're talking about Josh Allen, he's still going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's still a top 3 or 4 quarterback in the league that has generational quarterbacks right now. And so, like, I know that you're saying until he wins a Super Bowl, like, you're not going to give him that credit, but the numbers don't lie. He's done things that no one else has done.
What has he done?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's NFL records he's already broken. I mean, if you look at, just what he's done in individual games.
Turnovers. He's got a lot of turnover records.
He's the only person to score 3 touchdowns rushing and 3 touchdowns passing in a game. He's the only person to score a rushing, passing, and receiving touchdown in the game. That's just
my God! Stop with that crap. Are you talking about the Amari pitch? Well, I don't want to hear another word about the Amari pitch.
You brought up Dan Marino the other day, and that was a great point. Like, do you not think Dan Marino is one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play in the NFL?
I mean, he can't be considered an all-timer because he never won a Super Bowl. He just can't. And he was one of the most talented, probably top 3 most talented quarterbacks of all time. But he never, quarterbacks are weighed by Super Bowls. Look at Aaron Rodgers. Everybody would say overall Aaron Rodgers' career has been pretty much kind of a disappointment, even though he won 1 Super Bowl because of how talented he was. Everybody would say that he needs to win multiple Super Bowls. And everybody would say Eli Manning's career, hey, he kind of overachieved during his career. Why? Because he won multiple Super Bowls. So, like, all other NFL players are ranked by their stats. Running back, wide receiver, defensive ends who get sacks. But quarterbacks are not, like, tiered by their stats. They just aren't. They're tiered by their wins and they're tiered by their Super Bowls, number 1. And that's just how it is. So, I mean, until he even gets to one, we just can't put him in any field with any of these other, like, great quarterbacks of all time. And I just don't think he's going to get there in the long term.
I don't think we're saying he's on Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks, but I think what we're saying is he's a good quarterback, a great quarterback. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's put up the stats to prove that. And I think, like, if you're just basing it solely off Super Bowl wins and victories of what he's done when it comes to that, then, like, yeah, I could see your point. But the way you discuss Josh Allen is almost as if he is, like, he's not even worth talking about. You know, like he's not even a top 10 quarterback, and like that's what I have an issue with, because at the end of the day, he's not. You talk about him with such disgust at times. I'm like, are you watching the same football that I'm watching? Or like,
well, because all y'all picked the Bills to win this game. Patrick Mahomes is on a different level than Josh Allen. But when they go to play each other, they're like, nah, Josh Allen's a generational quarterback.
Like,
Josh,
the guy that literally the Chiefs have given. I mean, they've been giving so many chances this year. Like,
here we go.
It's ridiculous. I mean, let's talk about the fouls. Let's talk about the penalties that are called. I mean, honestly, I mean, you think a team that's gone 17-0 in one possession games is like, statistically, it doesn't even make sense that even could happen.
I think to beat the best, who've already been crowned the best, who've already won everything, you have to go above and beyond. Mark talked about Michael Jordan a second ago, the iconic Michael Jordan play. Do y'all know the iconic Michael Jordan play, right? He's one-on-one. Yeah, the push-off. Okay, it should have been an offensive foul, but he's Michael Jordan. So nobody in their right mind is going to call that thing on him. Patrick Mahomes gets all the deference. He gets all the accolades. He gets all the refs because he's Patrick Mahomes. And to beat that, you have to go above and beyond that. You have to outplay them so much that the refs aren't even a factor. You have to beat them by double digits. You have to take it to them. And no team has been able to do that yet. And Josh Allen had multiple opportunities and he didn't do it. So we can't say it's the refs. We can't say it's that. The Chiefs had to earn their stripes, right? They got 3 Super Bowls already. They've been to 4 already. They've earned it. They weren't getting these calls 5 years ago like they are now, but they've earned the right to have those calls, in my opinion. And until somebody takes it away from them, nobody's just going to give it to the Bills just because they're the Bills and everybody likes Josh Allen. Nobody's going to do that.
Okay,
so
well,
somebody needs to take it
Super
to him.
Bowl, he is the winningest quarterback. I mean, has the most playoff wins without a Super Bowl appearance. So I'm just saying the guy's obviously doing something right. He's getting them the opportunity to get to the Super Bowl.
He's in a terrible division, and they play the lowest seed, and they win that first game every year. They always get to play the Broncos or the Texans or the Dolphins with their backup quarterback or whatever, and they get an easy W at home. And then in the divisional or the championship game, they lose. So I think it's a detriment to his legacy that he goes to the playoffs every year, and he came in a terrible division where he always gets at least 1 or 2 home games. And
there's a whole different outcome to that game if they could actually spot the ball correctly on that last drive. Crossed the first down, the line of scrimmage. Everyone knows it was a first down. He got that.
Okay, so regardless if that was or wasn't, Chris, right? If it was the right call or not, right? We both think it wasn't. Some people think it was. It's fine, but that's how close this game was to the trajectory completely being changed, and Josh Allen winning. So it's not like
nobody knows if he got that little half yard that he's going to win that game or not.
I know, but
nobody knows that.
If they go down and score, they're up by potentially 9 points, right? Same thing. Like it doesn't like it's not like they got blown out. If they got blown out, we can sit here and talk about they can't get it done. But there are moments in games so close that just didn't go their way. They lost by 3 points.
I mean, this has happened
You could say the same thing when Joe Burrow beat them in the AFC Championship. It was a field goal, and it was just a few things went the other way. It's like that's what it is. So he's right there. He just has to get over that hump. And again, you're playing against the best of all time.
If it happens one time, yes. 2 times, okay. It's happened 4 times. When do you say enough is enough and he can't break through? Number 5 times, 6 times.
He's been to a Super Bowl. He hasn't won one yet.
Divisional round.
I didn't say Josh Allen was trash. I didn't say he was trash.
Divisional round 2022. Josh Allen goes and scores and puts them in the lead with 13 seconds to go. 13 seconds. He did not get the ball back again. He didn't get the ball in his hand. What more could he have done in that game? 13 seconds. He scored with 13 seconds to go.
Guess you got to score 0 second.
That's what I'm saying. You're playing the Chiefs like against any other team. He's going through to the championship game. But the Chiefs, they're so good. So you can't say that, Josh Allen hasn't done it. They haven't won. Bills haven't won the game.
Mark, Josh Allen hasn't done it.
But he's played well. It's not like he's choked. He's not choked
well enough. Not well enough.
One more thing. You said that Marino can't be considered a great, but he's very, very talented. Do you still not think that Josh Allen is a talented quarterback?
I think he's a talented quarterback.
Oh, there we go. We got something out of him. We got some
I don't
positivity.
think he's even close to great though. I would say he's good. I would say he's good.
We'll see.
We'll see. Now we got to wait a whole nother year for them to lose another game in the playoffs, even if they get back to that point.
Year of you just talking this shit.
And I don't even know why y'all like the Bills. You got Mac Hollins coming out as a Sesame Street character or whatever he looked like. Was he dressed as Gonzo out there? Y'all think this? Y'all, it's like this team comes out with so much bravado and they've won nothing, and y'all think that's okay.
But do I want to see a fair game? Yes. Do I want to see somebody besides Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs win with all their stupid commercials that they have playing all the time? It's like shoved down your throat all the time. Yes.
Derek, in 20 years, when you got a little Bubba Jr. next to you, you're going to say, son, 20 years ago, I saw the greatest dynasty in the history of NFL. I saw the Chiefs win possibly 4 Super Bowls in a row. Okay, so you're going to be bragging 20 years down the line that you were here for this moment. Would you be 20 years from now, we'd be like, man, I saw Josh Allen get to one. Oh, my God, I saw Josh Allen get to one Super Bowl one time. You're not going to be saying that. You're watching history. You should be thanking Patrick Mahomes that you're watching this dynasty in the making right now.
I mean, we'll appreciate it. All right, 2 questions. One is, that was long. We could go all night about this debate. If the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, are they the greatest sports dynasty ever across all major sports? I'm talking the Warriors 4 in a row. I'm talking undefeated Dolphins. I'm talking the Patriots dynasty. Where are the Chiefs at the moment in terms of a sports dynasty?
Yes.
I'm talking Lakers, Kobe and Shaq. You think yes? Chris, you go first. Go on.
If they win in the NFL 3 straight Super Bowls, because the NFL, it is harder to win a Super Bowl. It is harder to win a Super Bowl than any other major professional American sport. To so many things have to go right with the injuries. It's such a violent sport. If they win 3 Super Bowls in a row, they're the greatest modern, you got to put in context, right? You got to put modern, I would say, 70s and later sports dynasty of all time. Absolutely.
The Bulls?
Do what?
Better than the Bulls?
Well, see, the problem with the Bulls, it's almost like two different dynasties, right? Because the team was completely...
Let's talk Michael Jordan dynasty, because Michael Jordan won 6 in a row, right?
Yeah. But the thing is, the Chiefs aren't done yet. So the Bulls could be your comp that you have to them or whatever. But I mean,
Jordan actually won 3, took a year off.
I hate talking about the future,
and then he came back and won 3 more. So he did it twice. 2
And the second
2 3-peats.
Yeah, but the second iteration was a much different team than the first iteration. Obviously, it was Jordan and Pippen, but like all the other guys are a lot different. But I just think the NFL, man, there's so many things have to go right. The playoffs are all one and done games. It is just so hard to make that run and keep yourself motivated through a grueling NFL season and off season. It's a little different with basketball. Michael Jordan, obviously, he's known to not having trained a lot, right, and not keeping his body in good shape. These guys have to be so ready to play these games. It just, I don't know. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen if they win the 3rd one in a row.
I think what's really impressive is, you've lost guys like Tyreek Hill. You've lost guys like, I can't remember his name. It's blanking. But you've lost a lot of guys, right? Salary cap era, very, very difficult. They haven't played well this year, okay? I think Derek mentioned it. They've won 17 games by 1 score. They haven't been great, but they turn it on when it counts. And it's got to be hard to go through an entire offseason, training camp, weekly reviews, everything, and just stay as focused as they've been to then get back to this game, right? Like, that's really, really incredible. Basketball, you're right, it's different, right? Like, you can have a couple of weeks where you kind of just let off and maybe you go 500, but then you go on a streak, you make the playoffs, and then you got 7 games to prove you're the best. Here, it's like you show up 1 week and you're not feeling your best, you lose. The Chiefs lost 1 game this year, and they haven't been anywhere near their best. And then you add on just the fact that, they're in a conference that is much stronger when it comes to quarterbacks, and you have so many teams just trying to match them, and they come out on top. So yeah, I think if they win this, it's going to be pretty tough. I know Brady has 7 rings, and the Patriots have 6 rings in their dynasty, but they went a decade between theirs, and they never won 3 in a row. I think 3 in a row is really difficult. I saw a video today of Mahomes talking to Chris Jones last year's Super Bowl with the street, like the confetti still coming down. He's like, "We're coming back next year, man. We're going for 3. It's never been done." Like locked in right away. So I think that's very impressive. I will agree and say they are the greatest of all time if they win this one. And if they don't, I don't think that rules them out of being the greatest. I still think you said they're still here. They've got time. Probably got another decade of Mahomes. So yeah, Derek.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I mean, if they win this one, they would be up there. I could argue, obviously, it's you can say have the Bulls up there, you could have the Patriots, but again, like we just said, I mean, it's something that's never been done, and I do agree with Chris. Just like it's that much more difficult to do it in football because you don't have the series. It's a one game and done. You win, advance. You lose, you go home. You don't get any second chances, and so yeah, I mean, as much as I hate to admit it, like they are. We probably won't ever see this. I mean, if we do, it'll probably be a long time before I think we see another football franchise like do what the Kansas City Chiefs have done over the last handful of years.
Absolutely. All right. Anything else you want to talk about? I know we got Super Bowl coming up, but I feel like we'll dedicate a whole show to that. We got awards coming up. We can do our award predictions as well.
Just remember that the Bills traded with the Chiefs during the draft and gave the
Worthy,
Chiefs
yeah.
Xavier Worthy, who went for 685 and a touchdown. So maybe if the NFL would start colluding against the Chiefs, that probably would be smart. But Bills, keep trading with your nemesis that keeps beating you. So
is Spagnuolo the greatest defensive coordinator of all time? I think he's won 4 Super Bowls, one with the Giants as well.
Absolutely. And that's another thing. You're talking about the Chiefs being a dynasty because guys like him have stayed there the whole time, right? You get offensive and defensive coordinators that go back-to-back Super Bowls, they're all going to be head coaches next year, right? But he knows where he wants to be. He wants to be there. And then Andy Reid runs the offense. So it doesn't matter if you lose offensive coordinator, right? They lost Bieniemy and whoop, oh well. So yeah.
And Nagy.
Man.
Is Reid the greatest coach of all time?
That's tough.
Here's my thing, okay? Belichick did it with one quarterback.
That's who you're comparing it to, right? I mean, it's basically
it's Belichick or it's Reid. It's just one of the two. I mean, I know you have Don Shula and Lambeau, but I'm talking modern times. I don't know. He did it with Philadelphia, Donovan McNabb. He didn't win, but he was successful with Philadelphia. Then went to Kansas City. Again, if he didn't have Patrick Mahomes, where would he be? But I think he's proven himself with Philadelphia that he can be a winning coach, whereas Belichick, without Brady, has been awful. So, I don't know.
Well, the NFL, Belichick was the greatest of his era, right? Which was more of a defensive era. And those first couple Super Bowls they won was not because of Tom Brady. It was because of him and his defense, and and all that stuff as well. So I think if you put him in context of their eras, I still think Bill Belichick, I would put him higher as an all-time coach still at this moment. But yeah, I mean, Andy Reid, I mean, good Lord. I mean, but yeah, at the same time, he's had Patrick Mahomes, right? He's had Kelsey, who's the greatest tight end of all time. He's got Mahomes. So, you can't have one without the other. So
did they trade with the Bills for Patrick Mahomes as well?
Yes. Well, no, they traded a draft pick with the Chiefs that the Chiefs later traded with another team to get Patrick Mahomes. So
there you go.
Exo facto, they have Mahomes because of the Bills too. Good job.
Themselves in the foot. Whew, all right. Derek, I know you've barely said anything. I'm sorry. You joined late. Chris was ranting.
You guys.
What do you want to talk about? We got time. It's only 50 minutes.
Yeah, no more Josh Allen talk anyway. He's a loser. He's gonna be watching the game with the rest of us. So let's talk about something.
Josh Allen. God damn.
No. If you guys already touched on I'm guessing the NFC Championship game. Okay.
Yeah. Disappointing.
No, just look forward to the matchup. Eagles and Chiefs ought to be a good one. High profile players. You'll have Saquon and Patrick Mahomes and 2 good ones going at it.
Yeah, I think next week we'll do a full deep dive of the Super Bowl. Obviously, we won't be at Radio Row, so unfortunately we won't be in New Orleans, but we'll be here. And we'll also look at the awards. I think it's next Thursday is the awards ceremony, so we'll talk about that next week. And I'm going to say it now, I'm going to say it next week. If you live in New Orleans, don't go near Bourbon Street. Lock your doors, barricade your windows because Philadelphia is coming, okay? And if it's anything like what I saw on Sunday night, it's going to be absolute chaos. So look out. All right. Chris, any final words? Any thoughts?
I could go on for hours, but I think
Yeah.
we're at a good stopping point. My blood pressure needs to go down a little bit before I try to go to sleep. So
It was good to have you back. We missed you on Saturday.
I appreciate it, sir.
All right, guys. Well, we'll be back next week. If you like the show, please like and subscribe. It helps out with the algorithm and everything else. And we're slowly building momentum. We're getting more and more views each week. So keep it up. Any questions, leave a comment or reach out to us, thefanshuddle@gmail.com. Have a great week and enjoy no football. It's kind of weird, but we'll see you next week for a Super Bowl rundown.
Awesome.
See you
ya.
guys.
All right. Thanks, guys.